afternoon. It is February 2nd, 2026. You're listening to a little column A, little column B, hosted by Will Alimonos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How are you doing today, buddy?
What is going on, Will? I am back in America. I am back on the normal schedule. It is not the morning. It is not crazy at night. I took the day off from my other job so I could focus on prepping for the podcast. I watched every single Patriots Super Bowl victory. I watched the Broncos-Patriots AFC Conference Championship game over a second time because last time I watched it in the morning, I wanted to watch it in the afternoon just to see if I felt any different. And it's awesome being back in America, and the Patriots are still in the Super Bowl. It's still happening. That was not a dream. That did not happen far away. No, that happened here, and I am here, and I am very excited. It's so nice to be walking around wearing my Patriots hat. It's very, very cold, but that's the way it should be. It's wintertime. It's cold. It's awesome, and can't wait to get into the prop bets today.
We do have prop bets. I want to do a quick little update on the game and not do another victory lap of us just being in the Super Bowl because game day is coming, and we can't just keep celebrating that. It's amazing that we are here. I for sure didn't even think we were going to have more than 2 wins that we had last year, and here we are in the Super Bowl. But we do have a couple rumors swirling around related to the actual game here. Little Drake May rumors, maybe a little shoulder injury. There appears to be a little illness that's going on. He hasn't practiced this week. Any concern at all to these rumors?
I think you got to talk about something. There's no football this week. Actually, speaking of, what'd you think of the Pro Bowl yesterday?
Oh, I didn't watch that. Did you?
See, you didn't even know because I didn't know until today, and only because I had the day off, I could do some research. Pro Bowl wasn't even yesterday. Pro Bowl was on Tuesday. I don't even know when they changed that. I don't know why they would move it from Sunday when there's football to a Tuesday. But anyway, again, just adds to my point of there's nothing else to talk about. No new hirings or firings. And so I think that if this had been like a normal week, I mean, this is football. These guys are all banged up since September. And if this was any other week and any other distractions, this doesn't even get brought up. So I am sure both that Drake May's shoulder is not 100% and also do not think that it will severely impact the game. All these guys are banged up.
No concern. All right, I have a little concern. But I also think we should be relaxed a little bit by the no weather in this game. We're not playing in a snowstorm. We're not playing in freezing rain. We're in a dome. And there should be something at least comforting about that. He hasn't had clean anything in who knows how long. So I will give him the benefit of the doubt. If he needs some time off, if he's got a little illness, it's not shocking. It's February. Everybody's got an illness. Who's not sick? Anything else with the actual game here before we jump into the props?
Well, I don't want to do a well actually on you, but I'm pretty sure that San Francisco 49ers don't play in a dome, but it is in Northern California. But the way that the cold streak is hitting all over America, I saw a headline, I'm not sure if it was from today or from yesterday, that it was colder in Florida than it was in Iceland. I just don't want to rule it all the way out that there is not going to be snow. I'm not ruling it all the way out. Is that fair?
Would it only benefit us? I think so.
It would only benefit us.
It would only benefit us. So I welcome it, but I also welcome Drake having a clean pocket for first time in a while, being able to actually grip the ball, and he has such a nice touch pass. I think it would be easier if the conditions were easier. And we're going to need him to shine in this game. I ultimately think this is going to be a low-scoring game. All of my bets kind of revolve around that. I have a lot of kicks expected in this game. I think it's just going to be low scoring. Do you think there's any other way this isn't low scoring? Like, I don't even think they're going to score in the first quarter. I don't think anyone's going to score.
We have not been scoring much lately, and I don't know how much of that is the increased competition or how much of that is there's been a lot of snow in our games in the playoffs.
Well, you want to kick off the first prop bet here?
Sure. First one. So I have these split up. I'm putting $5. So we're both doing 50, seeing who can win. I'm putting $5, no touchdowns, the whole game, 175-1. That's my longest shot.
That's so funny because my favorite bet was that there was a parlay between the two kickers. I did parlays because I figured I didn't really find any fun props, or at least in Massachusetts, there's no Gatorade color prop bets. There's no like halftime.
Connecticut is also the same.
So
yes.
I in the past I have researched beyond that just so I could have some content for the podcast. But then I realized that majority of our audience is regional, and they're like, I can't make that bet anyway. So I did not have any of those fun bets because I couldn't find them in Massachusetts, and I'm trying to play by those rules. But I did come up with a couple more parlays, which generally I'm very against this. But they're prop bets and they're supposed to be fun. So I'm going to have some fun and give you some parlays here. All right. So I have Myers, the kicker, over 8.5 kicking points. So basically need 3 field goals. And then I've got Borealis, our guy, over 6.5 kicking points. And we have extra points as well, but I'm with you where I'm thinking both of those points are going to come from strictly field goals. I'd be shocked if there was extra points by either of these teams. I'm sure there'll be one, but I'm not thinking that we're going to get many of them. So you combine both of those, it's plus 256, and I will put. What are we doing? How would you 2 units, or how'd you say you want to break these up?
We split. It's $50. So I just did. I have two $5, and I have 4 $10 ones.
I'll make this a $10 one.
All right, and that was Myers 8.5, and then it was the Pats kicker. How many points for him?
Over 6.5.
6.5. Okay. 256. Got it.
256. So, and this is the fun where we're going to be rooting for kickers or extra points at the end of games. Don't miss that extra point. I could have had that. All right, what do you got next?
You got to find some way to have some fun here. Second one, I got $5. Kenneth and Ramondre, each 5+ rushing yards each quarter.
Okay. How many units?
5-1. $5, 5-1.
Okay. Did you do the coin flip?
No.
I picked tails. I think I've done tails every year. Minus 102.
Tails never fails.
Minus 102. I don't really want to do a ton of these, so I'm going to do $10 towards that as well. I'm just risking it.
All right. There you go. All right, my next one is, and I think we're kind of on the same wavelength here. This is going to be $10. Any quarter to end scoreless. Even when we had Brady, it was not unusual for us not to score in the first quarter. So now we're almost in the, maybe starting this new dynasty over where we're going to rely on the defense more. So, if the Patriots have any chance here, they are also, or, we're going to have to hold the Seattle from scoring. So, and that's for any quarter, and that is plus 260.
Ooh, I like that. That's my favorite bet so far. I wish I'd found that one. All right, here's a little bit more inspired of one. All right, Pats to win the second half, plus 142. I'm not like promising or guaranteeing or even expecting to be down, but I just know we generally have always played better in the second half at any point this year. Even when we play well, we play even better in the second half. And unfortunately, when we play bad,
it does seem like we make some adjustments or something.
So I think that's a good plus money one right there. So 142 for the Patriots to win the second half.
Okay, next one. I have $10 on Drake May to record 5+ rushing yards in each quarter, and that also pays 5-1. So I think for us to win, we're going to need Drake to run. And I'm really hoping that, last game of the year, we're able to, as Simmons would say, kind of pull him out of the garage. And 5 just seems very doable.
All right, let's do 2 more. I'll do $10 for all of them. So in case I haven't already said that.
Yep.
All right. This is hard because this is gonna be rough to root for, but I do think this is gonna happen. All right, it's a parlay. It's Raheed Shaheed to have over 1.5 catches, so he's got to have 2 receptions. And JSN for Seattle's also got to have over 6.5 receptions. It's plus 206. I think that's going to happen. They're going to throw it to Rashid like at least one time on a screen. JSN's going to get a ton of work. I think we're going to do our best to slow him down. But do you think we could slow him down under 7 receptions?
I mean, that's going to be tough.
So Rashid getting 2 receptions is really what I'm betting on here, and it's plus 206 for that to happen. I think that's worth the risk, so I'll put $10 on that one as well.
All right. My next one is get things started off. So start off with some higher, longer shots. These are a little closer, but, start the game off real quick. I have Seahawks first drive to end in a punt plus 115. Again, if we want to win, we have to slow them down. This seems like the best opportunity. And a lot of times, Super Bowl, you just You're getting your feet wet. Defense is gonna have to come out, be ready. You figure first possession. If they win the toss, they're not gonna have great field position. So start it off right. Patriots, get a stop on the first defense possession. So that's $10 plus 115.
Wow, are we really advertising a fun Super Bowl here? Because my last one's just Drake May and Sam Darnold, both of them parlayed. All right, under 1.5 touchdowns, which they could easily have 0, and we could hit both of these. Plus 242, my final $10 bet. I don't know what we're advertising here. Nobody's going to score in this game. This is going to be like a retro game. Are we even allowed to throw the ball?
I think we're both picking props that we're also hoping line up with the Patriots victory. I'm sure that if we were both Seahawks fans, we'd be picking there's going to be a touchdown in every quarter. There's nothing to do with the kickers. I think we'd be going a different direction. I
wanted to look at an anytime touchdown by a defense here, but it didn't. I think both these teams, if they make a mistake, it's not going to be a touchdown mistake. Or at least I'd be very shocked in a Super Bowl that either of those quarterbacks threw a pick six. I think they'll throw an interception, but I don't think you'll see a pick six. I think they're going to play it so safe, and they know that there's not going to be a lot of points scored in this game, and that one pick six could cost you the entire Super Bowl. I'd be shocked by that, but that's why I didn't lean toward it, but it has a huge payout if you wanted to. Look for that. All right, any other bets?
Last one, $10, Pats to score last, plus 114. It seems like as I was doing my very important research and going back 25 years, it was Patriots good at the comebacks. So whether it's a comeback or just it doesn't even have to be a comeback to win. Just you have to be the last one to score. So last one to score, plus 114.
I guess that could happen. What if we actually have a lead for once, and then they, they're the last field goal, and they need a touchdown, and they don't get the touchdown?
Then I would lose, but I think that's worth it.
Good explanation. What a well done podcast. All right, any other bets? We're going to move on to some actual NFL Hall of Fame news, where Bill Belichick was not inducted to the Hall of Fame. This place wants to call themselves the Football Hall of Fame, and yet they do not want Bill Belichick in them. He does not qualify to their standards, or apparently there's enough people that have been on the waiting list that somehow qualify as more urgent than Bill Belichick being in the Football Hall of Fame. I don't even want to call him the Football Hall of Fame if they don't want Belichick. Until then, you could be anything else. You could be football memorabilia. You could be future eBay store. You are not the Hall of Fame without Bill Belichick. Or at least, if he's not good enough for you, or if you don't think that he should be a first ballot guy, which we say all the time, what are we doing, Zach? Can we stand up for our guy?
I have no idea what's going on here. I've gone through all of this. This was when I was still overseas, and it was just I'm just looking at headline after headline, and especially the first wave, it was all NFL, like premier NFL players, coaches, everything going, what are we doing here? It was not the Patriot sites. This was not how is Julian Edelman not, a Hall of Famer? All right, I can be rational about that, despite watching all of his great Super Bowl plays earlier today. But Belichick, if you're not letting him in, who else are you letting in? And then the rumors started that, there was, some controversy while he was coaching, cheating allegations. And so, all right, possibly. And you go and look into it. It's like, okay, Spygate. That's the first one. All right. I was, a little kid. I don't really remember that at the time. I did a little research. Didn't quite all the way understand it. But he was not suspended. If you're not even suspended at the time, how is this impacting your case? The next one on the list, Deflategate. We went through Deflategate. Since that day, and I've talked about this before, since that day, how has the PSI of a football, or really in any sport, it has never come up again. It came up for that one time. It was disproven scientifically that said, hey, with the Patriots play in New England, it's really cold out. And we all know in New England, if you have a basketball in your car in the wintertime and you go to play with it, it's going to be deflated. Your tires, you got to fill them up because they deflate. That's how it works. And what ended up happening, and you're going to look and go, oh, well, Brady was suspended for that one. If you go back and look at the details of that, it came down to Roger Goodell saying that like he, as the commissioner, was just allowed to hand out punishments, and like you couldn't argue those specifics, and that he was the guy, he was the boss, he was just allowed to do it. It had nothing to do with whether Brady was actually guilty of this or not, as well as didn't really involve Belichick, didn't really involve Brady. So again, those are like the two like main scandals there. If you really want to call them scandals. And again, he has 6 Super Bowls as a head coach, 2 as a defensive coordinator. Like, if this guy's not in first ballot Hall of Famer, I don't know who else is.
I think it's much more of a voting pattern in a structure of which there's only certain guys that are eligible for a certain amount of years, and they might be more borderline, and it might be this year or never for them. Versus, I think Belichick is safe that he will eventually get in. I don't understand
Oh, is he? 2 weeks ago, wouldn't you have said he's safe? He's a first ballot Hall of Famer for sure, 100%.
Well, I do think I stand with my disqualification of this place if they don't want Bill Belichick in their football Hall of Fame. Nobody's mastered this more than him. The idea that he doesn't qualify for them is he could go create his own. We could call it the Bill Belichick Hall of Fame, and he'll handpick who's in and who's out. And guess what? His standards are going to be a hell of a lot higher than whatever the hell you guys are doing, for which he doesn't even qualify for, which is even crazier. There's too many guys, I'm not going to name names, that probably shouldn't even be in this thing. And here's somebody who's actually deserving, who's actually won. And because he's won so much, it's almost being held against him. Bitterness, a jealousy of old things that, sure, you could hold that against us. It's not like those are the only ones we won, Zach. The controversies are surrounded by how many, but how many were we in? How many did we lose as well? You could still get qualifications for that. That's a hell of a time making it to the Super Bowl. It's not easy. It's just not. It's not good. It's not a good look. And I swear, if it's just related to they didn't want the girlfriend at the ceremony, if it's as shallow as that, I don't understand what the hell the point of this all is then.
That makes no sense. Like, are you looking at that for any other candidate of what is your personal relationship? Like, that is like the most like outlandish. If that had anything to do with it, it's like that. It just was this high school? What are we doing here? That's crazy. One of the arguments I was hearing, you kind of touched on it, is that they changed how you vote more recently, and so it was really only 5 people you could vote on. So you had to vote. You could only vote 3, but then it's like it was at least 11 people didn't vote for him. There are a lot of other teams that we had success off of them not having success. So I think there was some negativity there, but I would like to think you'd be an adult, you'd be able to get past it. One of the main leaders, Bill Polian, and I think he's made 3 or 4 statements since this has come out, flip-flopping back and forth all over the place. And to the point of one of the times they asked him, so did you vote for him? And he said, oh, I can't recall. You can't recall. If you can't recall who you voted for Hall of Fame for this year, we're not asking, hey, what did you have for breakfast before the Super Bowl that Peyton Manning won, 20 years ago? I can't recall. Fine, that happens. Who knows that? No, nobody. But you can't remember for this year. If you can't remember who you voted for this year, you probably shouldn't have a vote. You can't remember.
I would be retracting votes. I'm with you where if there's this much bitterness in the voters, they shouldn't be able to manipulate this. Should be much more of football purity than a politics of voting. Like they're clearly campaigning here. There was somebody campaigned against this. Like, what more? Like, was Belichick supposed to campaign? Was he supposed to come kiss asses to all these guys? Like, what was he supposed to do to get in the first ballot? What more on this resume would you need to see?
I win more Super Bowls. I guess just it when you see I like it's crazy stats where it's like you have somebody like, I think it's like Vince Lombardi, who like the Super Bowl trophy is named after, and I think he only coached in the year like for 13 years in the league, and it's considered like one of the best coaches. Where Belichick went to like 13 AFC Championship games or something crazy. Where it's just like he had more success than guys coached in the league for.
Well, hopefully he'll get in, and even if he doesn't, I don't care. He's Bill Belichick. He's better than all of you. He's better than me. He's always going to be Bill Belichick. You can't take away things. You could continue the story, and the story might not end well. They're not always going to end well, but you can't take away. Nobody's ever going to repeat it. Like Mahomes and Andy Reid, hell of a good, accomplished quarterback coach combo, but man, it's just not the same. It's just not the same. All right, we got to move on. We got a lot to get to here. College basketball season's in full swing. We've officially hit February. We thought it'd be a little fun to do a NBA mock draft for next year and get a chance to talk about all these players. Did you go international on any of your draft picks?
No. I did not go international on any of the picks, and I don't think that it was even some sort of college homerism. It was just this year, it's a really good draft class, and what's really cool is that all of the guys that I'm looking at are all on top 25 teams. I don't, probably all of them aren't contenders, but I'd say if you're in the top 25, like you're at least in the mix. All of them are freshmen, and all of them, except for like one, are the best player on their team. So if you're an NBA guy and, you don't kind of come down to the college level, and, some years there's been like, well, where do I even find, Loyola? Like, where's that even on TV? It's no, all of these teams are all playing premier games, Fox, ESPN, all Fridays, Saturdays, Tuesdays. They're easy to find, and you're gonna be able to watch, and you're gonna know immediately. Oh, that's the guy on this team. That's the guy I'm gonna be looking at watching in the NBA. We even had a former NBA player, Jamal Mashburn, came out and he said, which I think is wild. I'm interested in your take, that if Cooper Flagg, the Cooper Flagg that won National Player of the Year last year, was the first pick, just scored 49 points, that if he was in this year's draft, he would be the 6th best.
No. This draft sucks. I can't believe you're talking it up that much. Last year's draft was awesome. I really love all of the players from last year's draft. You can rearrange them. I was pretty high on Knipple. I had no beef with Cooper going 1. I said Kahn should go 2. Look, there's other guys having a hell of a year right now, but it's not like Kahn's anywhere close to a bust. I think it's a hell of an argument for 2, and there's more guys to talk about in this. The Philly guy, I'm blanking on his name right now. He's having a hell of a year. Edgecombe. I think this year's draft was really good, and we're excited for this next year's draft because there are guys playing on premier teams, but I just don't think that it's very good NBA talent. I think there's only one guy on this team that you would actually build an offense around, and that's Darren Peterson. I don't think anyone else here is going to be a number one option on any NBA team, and if they are, it's not a good situation. And that might be all right. They could be role players. They could be assisted by other guys and be number 2s and aid teams to advance on. But I don't think there's as many number 1 options in this versus I think there's a decent amount of number of options that came out of last year's. I think Edgecombe, Knipple, and Coop alone are guys you could really build your team around and be pretty good. And I don't feel crazy about saying that, but we're going to do a little mock here, and we're going to go every other pick, what we would do for the teams at those picks. So do you want to go ahead and hit the tankathon?
Sure, hit the tankathon, and we'll see what we got here. So I'm simming the lottery, and if you want to write these down, number 1, Indiana, 2, Sacramento, 3, it's Milwaukee, but that'll be the Hawks. 4 is Memphis. 5 would be New Orleans, but that would be the Bucks. 6 is Brooklyn. 7 is Washington. 8 is Utah. 9 is Dallas. 10 is Charlotte.
There's no way I wrote that down, but that's fine. You want to go first or second?
Okay. You go first.
I think Darren Peterson put on an entire show against BYU this past week, and I know he's been in and out of the lineup, and that there's a very like Kawhi Leonard-esque to him, and that worries me of, hey, is he going to play tonight? And then when he plays and he's healthy, it's clearly a control of the game. I thought you could see the difference between him and AJ DeBonsa in this game, where AJ needs his teammates to kind of help set him up versus I thought Darren Peterson was controlling everything on his own, on defense and on offense, passing lanes, pressure. I could see him just switching with people, and it felt like he had a really good grasp of the game and has a really good wide skill set that's just going to deliver and I think translate very well into the NBA. I'm not a big Kansas guy, and I don't think this team's got a real chance for the ship this year, but I think this guy is for sure on another level than most of the guys across the league right now. Would you have gone with him at number 1 as well?
Yeah, I would go with him at number 1. there's a little bit of concern with the injury, but it just seems more weird than anything else. This doesn't seem like a Michael Porter Jr. where he has a legitimate injury and it's going to be something that follows him. It's just something. It he could. I think he could be playing. He could be playing more,
But
and I think that that really only helps him more that he is not at 100% and is still. I mean, he went up against Debansa this week and they jumped all over him.
I'm with you with I think he could play more, but I wouldn't question his motor though. When he plays, I think he plays hard. It doesn't seem like he's mailing it in. It does get limited minutes frequently this year, but I think those minutes he's been really good. It's just kind of disappointing where we have overtime games or closings of games, and he's awesome until they take him out, and then that's kind of disappeared. I think we're past that, and maybe we'll see more, but I don't question. Like, do you think his motor's bad? Like, I think he plays hard still.
No, and I think there's. I don't know if it's NIL or what. I had brought it up before where it was weird that he was sitting, then it was close, and so then he takes a shot, gets fouled, makes the free throws, then doesn't play in overtime. So that's where I don't think this is a real problem injury, because if that was the case, he'd be sitting. You wouldn't do like a weird like come in. So I just think that this has to do something with NIL or concern about being the number one pick, or I can't put my finger exactly on it. Maybe if there's a Kansas fan out there can explain it to me, but no, I don't think it's a motor issue.
Who you got at number 2?
Number 2, and this is why I let you go first. So a little bit of a homer pick here, but I think he deserves to be up here at the top, is Cam Boozer. Hate to send him to the Kings because the Kings had the light the beam year only a few years ago, and it is just a mess. They had a tank off with with the Wizards, and boy was that ugly. I saw the list. It was ridiculous. I mean, the Kings had Levine and they had DeRozan playing, and somehow they still lost. And the closing lineup, it was all guys like I'd never heard of. The only guy I'd heard of was Skal Labissiere, and it's only because he played for Kentucky, but like pre-COVID, or that might even been the COVID year, and he just has like kind of a unique name. And he just got called up from the G League. I don't know if he's really ever played in the NBA. He played 3 minutes the first game and then 26 in that one. And it was just we're both teams trying to tank. So having watched all of Cam's games, he is excellent on offense. I think he's shooting 38% right now from 3. He definitely started off a little slow. Shots a little bit slow, but I think it looks pretty good. He is nowhere near the level of Cooper on defense, which, I mean, not a lot of not really any freshmen are, but I think he's more offensively polished than Cooper was at this point in the year last year. So hoping that he continues, he will for sure not turn the Kings around. I mean, if Coop can't turn the Mavericks around, but I think that out of the rest of the guys, he's the guy that the Kings, you just got to get best available, and he's best available.
He should stay in college. He's not ready for the taller guys, man. He's too small and he's too slow. All those awesome post moves and the great body control around there is just not going to work against guys that are significantly taller than him. I got him at 6'9" right now. That's not enough to play in the post. You can't be 6'9" and play in the post of the NBA. Have you seen Wemby?
Nobody plays in the post.
Well, then what is he going to do, man? He can't stretch the floor. He can't defend.
That's what I just said. What are you talking about? I just said he shoots 38% from 3 in college.
I don't think he can shoot the NBA 3. I don't think it's going to translate well. Or at least he better really figure it out, because I don't know what other position he's going to play. And I don't know who he's going to defend either. Who's he supposed to defend in the lineup? You think he's fast enough to guard a 3? You think he's big enough to guard a 4 or 5?
I think that his defense is an elite, but he's also not just a sieve.
No.
I don't think that he's undersized. Yeah, same as you. Yeah, he's 6'9". He's got a 7-foot wingspan. It's if you have to nitpick on something, I think he'll be able to stretch the floor. I don't think he has like a point guard handle, but if you give him the ball, he is not just turning the ball over. I mean, Coop had trouble last year, down the stretch of spinning and getting into trouble, and I don't think that Boozer gets into those issues.
I think he could be like a EuroLeague MVP for Greece or something. I think he's got
You already
European.
sent him to Europe.
I just think the way
Oh
he
man,
plays is perfect for the way they play over there. He can play physical. He'll be able to actually do some post ups. I just this NBA, the way we're working right now, we don't want guys like this.
National Player of the Year favorite, and you are sending him to Europe already.
I think
Wow.
he is an excellent college player, and he's better than almost anyone else at college right now. Like even Peterson is capable of a hell of a lot more. But guys that are able to post up are just way more consistent with an offense. He has a huge advantage in college. I just don't see that advantage translating to the NBA. And I don't know what he can get better at. How can he get better for the NBA? He's got to get way better at shooting. He's got to get way faster at shooting. And he's got to cut weight but still be big enough. And he's short. It's a lot of stuff that I just don't see adding up that would translate way better into actual old school basketball, which is a little bit more like Euroball. I think he's got a chance for that. All right, next pick.
I think there's something to being the son of an NBA player. I think we've seen that success before, where I think just his floor, it just he will be at a certain level. Whether he can make it to to All Star, we'll see. But I think like his floor, it's going. He's not going to be out of the league in a couple of years.
I think he's a safer bet than a lot of these other picks. But like I said, I'm not really in love with this draft. AJ DeBanza is who I would take at 3. I think his ceiling is being a number 2 championship team, which is a number 2 on a championship contending team. I'd say maybe kind of Andrew Wiggins-esque. I just don't know if he's got enough killer instinct in him. And he's still very, very young and very raw and probably even more athletic than anybody we've talked about today. So there's a high ceiling there. I just don't know. Do you think this guy's aggressive enough? Like, he plays within the team, and I give him credit for all that. But at some points, you got to say, hey, man, I'm going to be one of the top 5 picks, top 3 picks in next year's draft. Give me the damn ball and get the hell out of the way. I don't like how they set him up. He gets pinned in the corner all the time, and it doesn't look like he knows what to do with it. But maybe that's more of a reflection of his teammates. What are you feeling about him? Because I think there's potential here, but I'm not really seeing it yet.
I'm happy to just blame that on the coaching, where it's BYU. When's the last time BYU had a potential number 1 pick, come in? So I think that that coach, you're used to a little more of, hey, it's about the team, it's about this, and especially at barely 18, that give me the ball, get out of my way. I think it's unusual for someone to have that young, in the college game. I think that's something that he will have, and that'll be something that the NBA will coax out of him, or maybe I don't want to say like he doesn't have it, like he needs to be like pushed, but you might just encourage it more than it is at the at the college level.
I just saw him take a couple punches from Peterson in Kansas the other day, and it's not that I wanted to see him like go super aggressive back, but I just wanted to eventually see him say just enough. Like, I am this, I can do this, watch this. And I didn't feel that. And I think he's got it within him, but we're not there yet. And these guys are going too early is really the problem here, but they're better than anyone else out there, so they have the right to go. But all of these guys, other than Peterson, like, I'd like to see Boozer come back and just, I think he could dominate. I think he could win back-to-back national championships if he stays. But if he's going to go number 2, he has a right to enter the draft. These guys aren't going to be ready for the NBA. Like, I don't think defense is going to be instantly in the rotation either.
There is no way these 3 guys. After this, I might be able to entertain something, especially with NIL and like the numbers you're making. These 3 guys, there's no way they're coming back to college.
And that's the right move, because they're easily projected top 3. There's not another. I haven't seen anyone else in the top 3. Have you? I've looked at a lot of lists.
No. These are the top 3.
These are the 3. All right, who are we going with number 4?
Number 4. I'm gonna start dipping into the point guards. I'm gonna go with Kingston Flemings. He's playing for Houston. I think that at number 4 here, that would be going to, in our little thing here, would be going to Memphis. I think Ja is going to be on the way out, whether it is this week, whether it is in the off season, or some point before next year. So I think they're going to need a new point guard. I think that Flemings has been playing really well, and I think that he's kind of been moving himself up higher and higher as the season's gone along, as well as Houston in the past decade or so has manufactured some really good point guards that they've gotten just injured right during or right before March Madness. Otherwise, I think you'd be hearing more about, about the coach and just kind of like, hey, like they bring point guards out of here. So anytime you're coming out of Houston, you're going to play defense. And I think that definitely, helps out, especially at the point guard level where that's not always the case coming into the NBA.
As probably the best defensive guard we got after all this. There's good guards, but I think defense is certainly suspicious on some of the draft picks coming after this. An advantage that Kingston Flemings has is just being good at defense, and not very undersized either. So I think that's a good pick. I'm in a crossroads at this number 5 pick here. I would have taken Flemings at 4, so I'm with you on kind of that top 4 over there. But this is where things get a little messy here, where you could possibly talk yourself into this North Carolina guy, Caleb Wilson, who's a legit 6'10", 215, athletic. I don't know if the shooting's quite there and all that, but at least we've talked a lot about undersized guys. He would be the first guy you could get at number 5 here. In my gut, and I don't really care with the rosters. I know you're trying to keep an order of all these teams. I would just draft the best player available here, which in my eyes is Keaton Wagler from Illinois. I think shooters are what you want, and I think him catching fire in the second half of the season right now is exactly what you should be looking at. Just a scorer and not just a shooter. There's a lot of good shooters out there, but at least he's able to actually score. Has some decent size to him as well. I like this. I like the way what Illinois played of recently, and that's who I would take at number 5.
Yep. Yeah, I would echo that as well.
I'm not against Caleb Wilson. I know he's in the mix here, but him and Nate Ahmed they're not. It's just something about not playing well on a bad team that makes me hesitant on them and being like, well, how good are they? They're outside the top 5 and their team's not that good. And all right, who you got next?
Next, I am going to go with the name you just mentioned. I am going to go with Caleb Wilson. Very interested to see him and Boozer go head to head this Saturday. He was hurt to start the year, so I think with college, there's not a lot of games, and every game is nationally televised pretty much for these teams. So you don't get a lot of ramp up time. So I think that might have been some college people saw him at the beginning and said, all right, saw enough, but I think he's been playing better more recently. And I think it's just, there's a lot of point guards, more guards kind of going forward from here. So I think the Nets are going to be looking for more and more of a wing, maybe some more size. So I think Caleb's going to fit in there a little better.
All right, you ready for some hypocrisy?
Yes.
I like Axel Ledenberg at 6'9" a lot more than I like your Duke guy at 6'9". And I would take him at the 6th pick. Or is that where am I 6? Where am I, 6 or 7? I'm 7. 7. I would take Yaxel next. What is he bad at? What is Yaxel not good at? He's a good rebounder. He's got a good shot. He's pretty good at defense.
He's a senior.
So he's older. Okay. All right.
He's older.
All right. You could knock him. We're outside the top 5 now, though,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. Fair. No, very, very fair.
I just think
I went all freshman, and I feel like more recently that has not been as big of an issue in the NBA, where I feel like for a long time it was, if you were not a freshman, like it didn't just drop you a couple of spots. Like maybe this is what's happening here. It was, you went from lottery to like early second round. And we've seen teams take advantage of that, where it doesn't take too long. Brunson, National Player of the Year, but it's like, he's not a freshman, but it's like, well, it's like only like a couple years difference, right?
I mean, what team doesn't want a big man that doesn't turn the ball over, that can shoot, and is a good team defender? I think this is a really good pick here. I know that. I mean, Michigan's playing really well too. I saw this team up and close here.
They sure did.
I tried to pick at him and be like, all right, well, he's kind of slow, and he's like, well, is he? He's pretty mobile for his size, or at least I'd rather watch him move on the perimeter than Boozer. Boozer's awesome at the post, but he's not going to be able to move like that in the NBA. Yaxel, I think, kind of moves the way he already moves, and that'll translate a little bit easier for him. I don't think you have to change quite as much. He's a lot more on the perimeter than Cam is. But that's who I would go with next. I think I skipped over a bunch of guys here, but that's who I would go with. Who you got next?
Next is, I'm going to go with LeBaron from Alabama. I think Alabama is having their college problems, and they have their headlines of they're bringing a G League player in, but this guy is better than the G League player. And even though he's just a point guard, I think that running the Alabama offense, there's a lot of scoring that happens. You got to feed a lot of mouths, and I think that is going to be important at the next level. So send him out over to the Jazz and let him run the offense there.
Okay. All right. Oh man, offense is great with him. I'm a little suspicious on defense. I think that's why I have Fleming's ahead of him. I think comparable on offense skill wise, but is it Alabama just doesn't play defense? Do you think he's gonna what teams do you need to get drafted to that's gonna make him play a little bit of defense?
I think there's been guys that have come from Alabama and figured out defense. I don't think that's it. It's not the best. It's not Houston, but I don't think it means that you're never going to be able to play defense. And I mean, have you ever watched the NBA? Nobody plays defense.
You're right. But I do think guard play is important, and being able to score from the perimeter is important, which is why I would take Cameron Carr with my next pick. I'm sure you're familiar with him. He's a former Duke player, certainly had a good career over there, and he's with Baylor now, a big guard that can score. I think that translates very well to the league. Baylor not quite as successful as we were hoping for, but I still am kind of holding on to the highlights I saw previous years, and I imagine just what that would age into in the NBA. I see him as just like a trustworthy veteran guard, maybe not a starter, but could potentially be. But good guard play.
Hold on. What did he have to do with Duke?
Is this not the guy that transferred from Duke?
No, he played for Tennessee.
Oh man, that's who I'm thinking of.
He's playing for Baylor.
I'm thinking of the other guy. Never mind then. I would still take Cameron Carr with the next pick, though. I think I just screwed up his history.
Now I'm trying to think of who you're thinking of.
Isn't there a Baylor guard that used to go to Duke?
Yes. Okay. Yep.
It's not Cameron Carr? I don't know why I thought it was Cameron Carr.
No.
Who was it then?
I can picture his face. I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Anyways, moving on. I still think Cameron Carr's a good player, whether he played for Duke or not. Jeremy Roach, that's what I'm thinking of. Sorry.
Yeah, Roach. Yeah. Because he had the 4 years at Duke and then transferred to Baylor for last year.
Don't know why I mixed up that, but that's what you get when you're on to the whatever 9th or 8th pick here. Moving on. Who you got next?
I'm just still. Now I'm really trying to piece. I'm trying to look inside your brain, and now I'm in a deep, dark, dangerous area. So now I just got to pull myself out. Okay, so now Charlotte still have some good point guards left, and I'm going to go with Darius from Arkansas, playing for Cal, and I think that we've seen more from the Kentucky days, but he recruits talent. I think he's playing very well for Arkansas right now. Didn't get the win against Kentucky this weekend, but he still played well, and I think that there's something to be said about these guys that were premier high school guys, make it to the college level, that translates to the next level.
All right, is my last pick? Are we done with this yet?
That was my last pick. That was 10. So
we're done.
That's it.
All right, thank God.
That's it. We went Darren Peterson to Indy, Cam Boozer to Sacramento, DeBanza to Atlanta, Kingston Flemings to Memphis, Keaton to the Bucks, Caleb Wilson to the Nets, Yaxel to the Wizards, LeBaron to Utah, Carr to Dallas, and Darius to Charlotte to go play with the red-hot Charlotte Hornets right now.
Red hot?
They just won earlier. They're on a 7-game win streak. For Charlotte, I mean that might be almost as many wins as they've had in previous years.
It's a good direction. I'm not against it, but it's also. Are they actually going in the right direction? Like they're winning games, but you think they're going anywhere this year in the playoffs? Do you think they're a piece away? They're not.
A piece away from what?
Exactly.
For them making the play-in is like, ooh, this is fancy.
I don't know. They're bordering on just being Chicago, aren't they? You got to get over that hump for me to actually respect you.
The Hornets would love to be Chicago.
That's not good. That's not what anybody wants. They just fired Mike Tomlin for being Chicago. You don't want to be that.
That is a totally different situation.
Well, it is the NBA trade deadline. There's Giannis rumors going all over the place. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think there's a trade destination that makes any sense out there. It's going to have to be like some 7-team trade just to make it work. I don't see it happening, but it is a Luka trade anniversary, which is just still baffling to me that that's happened. And now that there's rumors of potentially shopping AD, who's not even healthy. How did we get here?
Mess.
What a mess.
Just a mess. I, I think it's unusual that something that happens in the moment is the same all the way through. What we thought that morning when we woke up is the same thing we thought a week later. It was the same thing we thought a month later, 6 months later, and how we feel today of why would you do that? And you lost his job. Makes sense. Got lucky that they rocketed up in the lottery, so was able to get Flag, and Flag has been exactly what you're looking for in a number one pick. And AD was, I think this is, I don't think this is the worst possible path, but I don't think this is off what like the average path would have been for an older Anthony Davis that he was injury prone, and he has been for a long time. And when you're trading, a guy like Luka, you would have thought you would have been able to get a little bit more or a little more security. And yeah, I hate to, just keep like banging this drum, but it keeps coming up. It's not even something like we're forcing, where it's not something I like. It's not a team that I dislike or a guy that I dislike, where I like taking the victory lap. It's just still like we're gonna be talking about this for a long time.
Yeah, it's not going away. Luka's currently he's on the Lakers. He's gonna be an all-star. Do we care about the all-stars, by the way? They announced the reserves. I have no update, and I don't care. Do you care?
I wrote it down. There was some issues with LeBron getting voted on to continue his streak and stealing it from other people. I'm not surprised of just a certain level. I mean, we talked about it, how they the commissioner did special things for Wade and Dirk, but I last year was the first year that I stuck to my I'm not going to watch, and nothing changed. I mean they've sort of changed the how they're going to do the format, and it's just no. LeBron didn't try last year. I don't think he's going to try this year, and so I'm going to watch basketball. I'm going to watch fun basketball that night and not watch whatever that is. It was funny because Simmons, I forgot who the guest was, but they wanted to do a basketball Royal Rumble, which in fake made up land sounds fun. But in actuality, these guys are already complaining about, we don't get enough time to warm up, this and that. How are you going to get a guy cold coming in from, I don't know, wherever the wrestlers hang out? In a fake world, it did sound fun because you could bring out, older players. You could bring out, if it was a tag team situation, how you'd pair it up, or, a fan wins a vote, or you bring in a WNBA player. But it would be the same thing that we get now. Of it's not basketball, it's not competitive, they're not trying, and we've done this. We've done this too much, and I think All-Star, it's midway through the year, and so it's a mid-season through the year award. And if you really want to know who were the best players that year, you whittle it down and you just look at all NBA at the end of the year, and you look at the awards. That's the full season. That's what you should be looking at.
All right, another NBA news. Nobody cares. Paul George was suspended. The only real suspicion here is that he made a announcement, or why did he talk? I feel like he should have said anything. Or is it better that he said something?
I don't know if it's ever, I don't know if better is quite the right term. It's just, I think if this was the 90s and a guy comes out and is adamantly against it, and you're like, oh wow, he's really against it. So, maybe I trust him. But we've been doing this for so long, or maybe I'm just older, where just so many times we've seen guys come out and say, "Oh, there's no way this happened. There's no possible way. This is wrong," and this, and then maybe it doesn't happen immediately, but then a couple years down the road, it's, "Oh yeah, no, definitely did it," and whether they admit it or the court forces them to, admit it, it's just I don't know why you have to believe him. He kind of went with the soft one of, hey, I'm having some, mental health issues, so I took something and, I shouldn't have, and it's an apology just ahead of time. So it's like, all right, cool. And it's like, I don't really necessarily care the reason. It's just, he's not going to play for 25 games. So he'll be back for the final 10 before the playoffs and just more. He was playing this year. And the Sixers weren't awful. They're just outside of the play-in. So like steps in the in the right direction. The Sixers just weren't like a complete mess. And then all of a sudden you just like you have something like this of, was it accidental medication? Was he trying to get healthy? And it's like, again, like that doesn't matter. You got caught doing something illegal, and you're gonna pay the price.
He has a hard time living up to his contract already. To get this, it's more of just watching the Clippers.
Oh, well, did you see the headline about this part of it?
Well, what else is the headline? I'm just saying the Clippers let this guy go.
So
remember?
he's suspended. He's suspended without pay. So it's going to cost him over $11 million, but that saves the Sixers a little over $11 million. And I believe they are they're over the cap. So how it like multiplies. So you're like, 11 million. Like, what's that really do for you? Like, whatever their luxury tax is, like this might have been an inside job. Like this might have been the Sixers were like, yeah, we better test this guy. We better look into. I don't know. He seems happier recently. Let's look into this. Yeah, no, this is actually a potential good situation for the Sixers, both money wise, and I believe they can sign somebody in the meantime for the hardship, which you're not gonna get someone of Paul George's ability, but Paul George and the Paul George from before. So somebody else, you get a little time to see, you get to do a little bit of scouting. Yeah, this is not the worst thing in the world for the Sixers in the short term.
I hate that. I didn't even know that. Now I'm suspicious of
yeah.
everything. I think only Belichick's
Right?
the only
Should
one
be.
that would pull the trigger on something like that. You think Maury's got it in him? You think Philly's dirty enough to, cheat a little bit?
No, I don't think so, but it's fun to think about of some sort of inside job.
All right, you're talking conspiracies here. We'll just keep the tinfoil hat on. You've got some questions for Jason Tatum. Apparently, you think there's some confusion on his status.
Yeah. So I was out of the country. So when you're out of the country, the news that you get is just a little bit different. You see it maybe after the fact, and it seemed odd. It was like the first week I was gone, I was seeing rumors about he had media availability where he was working out in front of the media. And so it seemed like, you control this. Like Tatum and the Celtics control this. The Celtics have not put, at least publicly, any pressure on Tatum. Tatum has seemed to hint he was coming back. There was nothing definitive. We've seen some videos earlier. It said he's working out, doing all the things, all seemed good. And it's like, okay, not you do the media thing and then next week, but it seems like you want to, get some of this news out. And all right, cool. Like we're getting close here. Like, are we going to start seeing maybe, reevaluated, or he's going to start 5-on-5 or something? Like we were going to do like a concrete sort of step. And then it seemed like less than a week later that it was him coming out saying, ooh, like, I'm not so sure. Like I'm reevaluating. Now I'm thinking, maybe it's just going to be next year. So I don't know if like the media thing kind of spooked him, and it was, hey, I didn't want to put this much pressure on myself, and it seems conflicting. Like this isn't weeks or months apart. This seems like days apart, and just I don't know. I'm having trouble wrapping my head around it.
So you think he would just fit in with the current team, and that there'd be no chemistry issues? You think we could just add him to the roster, and we'll just keep moving ahead?
I think that Tatum, not 100% Tatum, is still helpful for this team.
I mostly agree with you, but I also think if he is not ready for it, or if he doesn't want to do it, don't do it. Like he's got to feel really good.
No, see, that I agree with you. If this is just a, hey, and if he had a setback, and setback's like a real like negative term, but it's not like he re-tore his Achilles or something. It was just, hey, like I was feeling really good, and then one day, like I woke up, and when I went to go do like the rehab, it was like, ooh, like this doesn't feel right. If that's what it is, I'm fine with that. Like he's got to do what's right for him. He's, I want him to be a Celtic still for a long time, and so when he comes back, he's confident he's going to be good to go. But if this has to do with chemistry and how am I going to fit in with this team, that's just confusing to me, because all of the main players on this team he played with, not just last year, like for multiple seasons. The guys on the fringe, for sure, that's a little bit different. But like I don't think he's going to come in and Walsh is going to look down at the bench and be like, "Oh man, Tatum's cutting into my time." It's like, well, yeah, the All NBA guy, the face of the franchise, yeah, he's going to take some of your minutes, and I'm sure he's still going to rest and everything. But I still think that 75% of Tatum is still helpful. It's still the same coach. I see him on the bench all the time. It's not like he's been away from the team. So I would be surprised.
I
I'd be surprised, and I just think Maz is so like crazy in a good way, and like about the details that like it wouldn't surprise me if we won't find out like in the moment, but in the off season or like for the pre-season next year, where it's like, oh yeah, Maz had us doing stuff at practice, like not basketball stuff. It was like we were in a room playing board games to make sure our chemistry with Jason Tatum was still at tip top shape. Something like that no one else is thinking of.
I don't think it's the chemistry. I think it's that if he had a chance to actually come back this early, is that he was going to have to essentially rehab during games to get in shape and to get back to this soon. That doesn't seem like, and that would have been fine if we were like an 8 seed right now, on a fringe of all that. But now that we're like a high seed and these games are really starting to matter and we have an actual chance for all this, I think he's a little hesitant on taking those games now. I think he's being unselfish, despite it sounding being selfish right now. We're in a good spot right now. Regardless if he comes back or not, there's this looming addition of a really good player. Whether he comes back sooner or later or not at all, he is eventually coming back. He's going to be on this roster, even if it's just not for this year. And I still think we got a good chance even without him this year. I would like us to add at least one more big, but he could maybe be that big if he's ready to come in and just rebound. He was a very good rebounder when he was playing.
Our rebounding has drastically improved, both by the eye test and by the actual metrics. I was seeing some good stats. You could argue, oh well, it's January. No one's playing any defense or rebounding, but I think it's trending in the right direction. I think that, and again, I am not expecting capital letters Jason Tatum All NBA player at any point this season. Probably not even into next season. But I still think 75% of Jason Tatum will be the biggest addition that anyone will make at the deadline this year. Question for you. Will Anthony Simons be on the Boston Celtics come this time next week?
I hope so. I haven't heard one deal where it's like, yeah, I'd rather have that than Simons. I like Simons. I think he's bought in. I think he's only gotten better. I think Maz is starting to trust him a little bit more, or at least really utilizing him at these, pull in case of emergency offense sort of things of like, hey man, the starters didn't have it today. We're in a hole. I know the bench is sometimes what gets us all back into it. I need you to just go get us back into it. And it's not even drawn up plays for him. It's literally the ball's rolled out there and he just takes it and scores. There's not enough guys in the league that can do that for the price that he costs. And I know that's like a perfect trading piece of what he costs, but I don't see any of the pieces being better than what we already have. I'd like to keep him. Would you like to keep him?
I think I'm going with that path. I think that we do need still, like, if we could upgrade at center and Cato was, the guy off the bench and not the main guy, I think that would help take us to the next level. I don't think anybody is going to take Simons for that level. And I kind of think this whole time, kind of like what we did at the beginning of this offseason, where we just shed a bunch of salary and we did like this waterfall thing. I think Simons was just going to go to like the next waterfall. But now that we're the 3 seed, still fighting, tied for the 2 seed, I think we're going to keep him because it doesn't make sense to do it financially. Just turn his contract into a smaller contract for a guy that's worse.
I think he's got big playoff game potential too. Like, could you see a huge 30-point game from him in the playoffs? Like, does that sound impossible?
No, not at all. Absolutely. Off the bench, like instant offense. I could definitely see that. And I think he will play better once the deadline has passed, because it's all anyone has talked about since he's gotten here of, all right, well, who are we going to try to trade Simons for? And the worst part is that it wasn't even we're going to trade you to get a piece that's going to help us win. It was like, this is just a way station until we can find a guy that's cheap enough so we can lower this tax bill even more. But I think that he's played well enough, and just knowing you're locked in, you're on a good team, and I think that'll help just kind of help him and the rest of the team relax.
Like outside the trade exceptions and the cap restrictions and all this, I just don't think there's a trade partner, even if we did it straight up. Like Vucevic, I hear thrown out there, or a guy of that caliber is within the Simons ballpark. It's expiring, but we don't get faster with that. We get a little bit better shooting with that. I don't think it solves we need the tough guy rebounder. I'd almost rather like a beef stew as Isaiah Stewart out of Detroit or something, or even something a little less specialized in that. Somebody who's just big and willing to rebound. I think Amari, the G League guy that we have, I'd like to see him play a little bit more. I think there's something there, and if we don't do anything at the trade deadline, I'd like to experiment with that a little bit more and just see if the sheer size makes an actual difference out there, because he's actually bigger than anyone we have. All right, any other NBA stuff?
To tie this back, since this was a college basketball and a NBA podcast, were you possibly thinking of Cedric Coward earlier?
No.
No, it wasn't him. All right. This is going to be a mystery.
I have too many tabs open. I knew it was my last pick. I picked the name. I thought I knew who it was. It wasn't who I thought it was. And then that's how you get stuck doing podcasting. All right? You got the full explanation there.
It happens. It happens. I really thought it was like, because I was trying to think of Cedric Coward earlier, and I couldn't put it together, and it was like
no
CC maybe, but no. All right, one of those things. Just I'll never figure it out.
I did not have the same prep time for all of this, and then I went down the Tankathon list, and I picked the names that I thought I knew, and for whatever reason, I thought that was Jeremy Roach at Baylor. And I was like, oh, he's still here at late draft? Yeah, I'll just throw him in. I at least know something about him, because I didn't know enough about all these guys, or the guys I did know about, I didn't like. Like I said, I ended up not liking a lot of the guys. So when I found Baylor big guard, I was like, oh, is this the Duke guy? I remember him. Yeah, he was good. No, it was the Tennessee guy. Full explanation. That's all it is. Wouldn't wrap your head around it more than just a guy who's been overworked today and trying to get out of this podcast. Anything else for the people out there? I'm going to play the music.
Very excited. We have football that matters. Super Bowl. It's not going in. Hey, it might be this, might be that. One complaint, and we're not going to get away from this. This has been going on for a few years. It's just sometimes we go in the right direction. This is the wrong direction. Previews for Super Bowl commercials. I don't need them. Nobody needs them. It drives me crazy.
Are you even going to watch the game live? What'd you think about skipping all the commercials?
There is no way I'm going to be able to watch the Super Bowl not live. I get what you're kind of saying on skipping it, but this is one of those times you can't just tell people, oh yeah, I'm delaying this. Like, I was able to do that a little bit earlier, but now you're going to get messages from all sorts of people if good things or bad things happening. No, there's no way. I could easily just watch something else during the commercials.
Yeah, maybe. I'm locked in though. I'm back in the Patriots routine of I want to actually watch the game. To hell with the Super Bowl party. I don't need a party. I need to watch the something. I need to watch the Patriots game. Like I need to see.
I don't want to party. I don't want to be out. I want to be in front of my TV so I can focus on my team.
I don't want to party. I'm gonna cut that out. That's gonna be our favorite soundbite from here on. Zach saying I don't want to party.
Perfect.
I want to party after the game. How's that sound?
Yes, that's what I want.
I'm kind of sick of Kraft, but I'll handle one more drunk speech. One more? Could you handle one more drunk Kraft speech?
Make it happen. Let the man party.
I remind everyone to subscribe. Little column A, little column B. You can follow us wherever you listen to your podcast. You can follow Zach on his X account, which is
WickedZman24.
We'll be back next week with more updates, more college, some NBA stuff, trade deadline,
Super Bowl. Last football game of the year.
Oh, that's right. It'll either be glorious or it'll be terrible. It's another reason why I'm
nowhere in between.
It's another reason why I'm not going to a party. This is I need to be prepared for anything. Prepared for anything.
Little column A, little column B.